Imagine two cities separated by time and geography but united by a harrowing experience, a siege. Monrovia, nestled in the tropical climes of Africa, and Leningrad, enduring the stark contrast of spring warmth and winter chill. One, the capital of Liberia, bearing the weight of a brutal civil war from 1986 to 1996, and again from 1999 to 2003. The other, a city under the former Soviet Union, surviving one of the longest and most destructive sieges in modern history during the Second World War. Monrovia, once a quasi-viable nation, was brought to its knees by a civil war that claimed the lives of 1 in every 17 people. The war displaced millions, introduced child soldiers to the battlefield, and left an economy in ruins. The psychological scars of this war persist in the form of rampant drug abuse and degenerative behaviors. On the other hand, Leningrad, now known as St. Petersburg, was surrounded by the German Wehrmacht for 842 days, from September 1941 to January 1944. The siege, one of the most devastating in history, resulted in an estimated 1.5 million deaths. The city was systematically starved, and its destruction was so total that the siege is considered a genocide rather than a war crime. These two cities, as different as they may seem, share a common thread. Amidst the tropical warmth of Monrovia and the contrasting seasons of Leningrad, both cities faced a similar ordeal, a siege. Monrovia's was a result of a civil war, fueled by internal strife, while Leningrad's was part of a global conflict that consumed the world. Each city, in its own way, offers a stark reminder of the human capacity for endurance and resilience in the face of unimaginable hardship. The narrative of these two cities, though set against different backdrops, ultimately tells a story of survival against all odds. Separated by continents, these two cities share a bond forged in the crucible of war. The year is 1990, and the city of Monrovia is under siege. Monrovia, the heart of Liberia, was caught in a deadly chess game between three main players. On one side, the National Patriotic Front of Liberia, or NPFL, under the command of Charles Taylor, and on another, the independent National Patriotic Front of Liberia, or INPFL, led by Prince Y. Johnson. The Armed Forces of Liberia, or AFL, under President Samuel Doe, were left to defend the city. As Taylor and Johnson's forces advanced on Monrovia in July 1990, the city's lifelines were severed. Supply routes were cut off, and Monrovia soon morphed into a chilling ghost town. Starvation set in, and the streets were haunted by the sight of rotting corpses. The rebel advance triggered widespread panic and anarchy. Liberian soldiers, caught in the whirlwind of chaos, resorted to looting shops and killing civilians at random. As if the violence wasn't enough, hunger and disease swiftly staked their claim. The struggle for control of Monrovia was far from over. Johnson's INPFL and Taylor's NPFL continued to wrestle for dominance in the months following the assassination of President Samuel K. Doe on September 9, 1990. The city, once a vibrant hub, was now a battlefield. Yet the most devastating consequence of the siege was not the physical destruction, but the humanitarian crisis that ensued. The city was crippled with fear, its people trapped in a nightmare of violence, hunger and disease. The social fabric was torn apart, and the economy of the once quasi-viable nation was obliterated. With the assassination of President Samuel K. Doe, the city of Monrovia was plunged deeper into chaos. And so the first phase of the siege ended, not with a resolution, but with the city teetering on the brink of despair. A despair that would only deepen as the war raged on. Fast forward to 2003, and Monrovia is once again under siege. This time, the battle lines are drawn between the reconstituted armed forces of Liberia and the Liberians united for reconciliation and democracy. This conflict, known as the Fourth Battle of Monrovia, unfolds in a brutal dance of power from July 18th to August 14th. In this riveting period of Liberia's turbulent history, the city of Monrovia transforms into a battleground. The city's vibrant streets and lively markets fall silent, replaced by the chilling sounds of gunfire and mortar shells. The once bustling city becomes a haunting tableau of war, a stark contrast to the thriving tropical metropolis it once was. The armed forces of Liberia, rejuvenated and re-energized, clash head-on with the forces of the Liberians united for reconciliation and democracy. The conflict, fueled by political tensions and power struggles, escalates rapidly, turning the city into a war zone. Amid the crossfire, the civilian population bears the brunt of the conflict. The effects of the siege on the civilian populace are nothing short of devastating. Caught in the midst of a power struggle they didn't ask for, thousands of innocent lives are lost to mortar shelling. Countless more fall prey to starvation and disease as the city's infrastructure crumbles under the weight of the ongoing conflict. The city, once a beacon of Liberian culture and resilience, is now a stark symbol of the horrors of war. The siege drags on, each day bringing more destruction and despair. The city's residents, caught in the crossfire, are forced to endure unimaginable hardships. The once vibrant city is reduced to a ghost town, its streets echoing with the sounds of war and the cries of its suffering inhabitants. As the conflict intensifies, the international community watches in horror. The world watches as one of Africa's most historic cities is brought to its knees by the very forces meant to protect it. The siege of Monrovia, a tragic chapter in Liberia's history, serves as a stark reminder of the devastating effects of civil war. The siege was finally lifted, but the city was forever changed. The scars of the conflict are etched into the city's fabric, a painful reminder of a turbulent past. Monrovia, once a thriving city, is now a testament to the resilience of its people in the face of adversity. Now, let us journey back in time to 1941, to the city of Leningrad. It was September, and the German Wehrmacht had just severed the last road out of the city, trapping its inhabitants in an icy crucible of war. The siege of Leningrad, one of the longest and most destructive in modern history, had begun. For 842 days, the city was cut off from the rest of the world. The German army, having encircled the city, intended not just to capture Leningrad, but to obliterate it and its population entirely. This was not merely an act of war, but a deliberate act of genocide. But Leningrad refused to surrender. Amidst the frostbite and famine, the people of Leningrad displayed a remarkable resilience. The Soviet Red Army, their ranks bolstered by civilians, fought tooth and nail to defend their city. As the siege wore on, the conditions became increasingly desperate. Food and fuel supplies dwindled, and the bitter Russian winter showed no mercy. People were forced to survive on meager rations, and many resorted to unthinkable measures to stay alive. It was a testament to the sheer willpower of the human spirit that the city continued to hold out against the relentless German onslaught. The sieges are over, but the cities bear the marks of these events to this day. Let's turn our gaze to Monrovia, 2 decades post-siege. It's a city where time seems to have stood still. The infrastructure remains inadequate, a haunting reminder of its turbulent past. Streets that once echoed with the sounds of laughter and commerce are now lined with buildings bearing the scars of war, their hollow structures a testament to the devastation. The psyche of the people, too, has been irrevocably marked. The war brought about socio-psychological pathologies, including rampant drug abuse and degenerate behaviors. The child soldiers, a tragic invention of modern warfare introduced on the Liberian battlefield, are now adults bearing the mental and emotional scars of their past. The economy of this once quasi-viable nation was destroyed completely, and the road to recovery seems long and arduous. Now let's journey back to Leningrad, now known as St. Petersburg, 20 years post-siege. It's a stark contrast to the tropical climes of Monrovia. Where Monrovia bears its wounds openly, Leningrad has covered its scars with a veneer of restoration. 20 years after the siege, the infrastructure was largely restored. Buildings were repaired, roads were rebuilt, and life seemed to return to a semblance of normalcy. But beneath this surface, the memories of the siege still lingered. An estimated 1.5 million people died as a result of the siege, their absence a palpable void in the city's spirit. The blockade was one of the longest and most destructive sieges in modern history, and the effects of this destruction were felt long after the siege was lifted. The cities of Monrovia and Leningrad, each marked by the scars of sieges, tell a tale of resilience and recovery. They stand as symbols of the devastating impact of war, but also as a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure, rebuild, and move forward. The efforts towards restoration and recovery in both cities are ongoing, a testament to the tenacity and resilience of their people. The stories of Monrovia and Leningrad serve as a stark reminder of the devastating impact of war on cities and their inhabitants.